Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to the MD and CEO, Mr. P.S. Reddy. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in the Q2 call. The results, as you've seen, are disappointing to myself and to my colleagues and to the board as well. Thanks to the peak margin regulation that has kicked in, which went on increasing the peak margin from 25% to 100% on 1st September, which was started with 25% in the month of December, then went on to March, and then June and September. And now that the players also got used to the peak margin is going to stay and nothing is going to change, and we are able to see some revival in the month of October, and it is almost all our ADT has touched 29,900 so far. But in the quarter, it has come down to 25,797 crores as against 28,000 crores in the previous Q1. Similarly, for the off year, from April to September this year, it was 26,896 or 26,900 crores as against 31,000, almost all 31,000 in the corresponding period last year. But one important thing that has happened, as you all know, our options volume is picking up. As a result, the options have a revenue potential in the sense that one third of the futures, rather the options, 100% is equivalent to maybe one third of the futures, brings in futures revenue. So we had about 9,000 crores ADT in options in the current month, which brings in equivalent to 3,000 crores of futures ADT. So when I said that in the month of October we are almost all 29,000, you can take an additional 3,000 crores as ADT, such that it will be almost all 32,000 crores in the month of October. Again, the October figure I'm seeing, but I am not taking the September figure, which is equivalent to about 6,000. Yes, it will be. It was in the month of quarter Q2. It was 6,000 crores, but it is not yielding us any revenue because we started imposing the tariff on options only from 1st of October. So this is one redeeming feature that we have. In terms of number of traded clients, that is the unique client code, it more or less remained the same. It's about so far traded was 3,13,000, 3,14,000. As against 3,15,400 or so in the last corresponding period last time. So that is the way it was. In terms of ADT, you all know that the bullion was contributed almost all 10,000 crores, and then followed by energy. It's about this is about for half year I'm talking about 9,000 crores, and it's agri also started doing relatively better. It's about 500 crores as against 268 crores corresponding period last year, that is April to September. So these are the numbers that I have. In terms of new contracts we have introduced, probably you are aware of it. Our index futures contracts are really doing well without any support. We have almost clocked 500 crores turnover in the month of October, and we expect it to do still better because we recently launched energy index futures contract. This is one part of it. The second thing is we are also planning to introduce more new products subject to regulatory approvals, of course. We proposed NG options contract, which is with SEBI, and electricity futures. You all know the dispute has been resolved by Supreme Court. Now that we expect SEBI to consider our proposal. And then third one is the steel TMT bar contract. That is also we are looking forward to. Again, we have filed our contract specifications with SEBI for approval. Hopefully, if these new products also will start, when we launch, they will also start adding to our ADT. Again, as I said, that not that management is satisfied with the performance, whatever we have done in this quarter, coupled with obviously the treasury income has gone down, partly because we moved out of the tax-free bonds and booked the profits, and then that profit was booked obviously on a M2M basis in whichever quarter that accrued. The second is due to low interest rates, obviously. So these are the two ones which have impacted. But now I will give it to Mr. Bolar to explain some of these things.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Yeah, and a very good afternoon to all of you. As MD said, our revenue from operation was on a consolidated basis stood at 83 crores. Other income stood at 16 crores, with totaling at 99 crores. So there is a 5% drop in revenue from operations and a 25% drop in other income. Mainly, as we explained in our previous call also in July, that we'll be moving out from tax-free bonds. So the first tranche of tax-free bonds has been sold, and we moved it to ultra short-term funds. And we'll continue exiting from tax-free bonds in this balance in this quarter. And as interest rates increase, maybe in the fourth quarter, we'll park it in appropriate paper to take advantage of the increase in interest rates going forward. But we have been, if you have seen our costs, we've been able to control our costs. The costs have been kept under control. There's been no bumps in the costs. So that's a positive for all of us, that we have been able to keep costs under control. If you have seen the fixed cost has been kept under control. So there's no surge or no extraordinary items in the cost. The costs have been under control. I'll be glad to take any further questions during the conference. Thank you.
And one more important source of income, especially in the subsidiary, which has taken a hit, is the storage or warehouse storage or vault income. Earlier, there were huge amounts of silver which were kept, again, because of the opportunities were accordingly there provided. Maybe the MCX is giving better returns than the spot markets. So there's a huge metal lying in our warehouses. So we earn certain amount of percentage of warehouse charges or vault charges. That has got gradually depleted because those opportunities vanished, and the traders have removed those assets from withdrew from the vault. So that is one major reason why the subsidiary income has gone down in this. Now I'll leave it open for question answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. And so I have two questions, sir. First, sir, on the new products, I think you mentioned three products. The first one, I could not get the name. So, I think it was electricity futures, steel TMT bar contract, and the third one, can you please specify the name?
NG options, natural gas. Natural gas.
Okay. Okay, understood, sir. Uh, Secondly, sir, is it possible for you to lay out the potential value of the electricity futures and steel TMT bar contract and NG options, and what are the timelines we are looking at for launching these three products? Tentative timeline.
Yeah, we will be, subject to regulatory approvals, we will launch in this financial year, no doubt about it. But potential, I will not be able to spell out any kind of numbers we will not be able to indicate. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Secondly, on the given that the peak margins are behind us now, and we have seen some improvement. What are the key things one should look forward to in the near future, apart from the new products? Is there any chance that the margins of crude will go down? And what is the current margins on the crude as of now?
Yes. You see, the crude oil margins were, in fact, reduced. Earlier we had 20%, 21%, and it was reduced to 10%. Again, there's a momentum there, so we increased it to 15%. So how do we deal with this? There is as I explained in the past also, if the margins are less and if open interest increases, there is a need to increase the SGF cover, that is Settlement Guarantee Fund cover. So there is a working group consisting of exchanges. We have submitted to SEBI a working group report. How dynamically we can contribute and then withdraw also. Currently, it's only one-way street. You can only contribute, but then you can't withdraw it. So, yeah, something of that kind of proposal that has been given, in addition to many other suggestions, who else can contribute, all that kind of thing. There's a lot of unanimity among exchanges on these issues. So we have submitted our report to SEBI, which is actively considering it. So once that decision is taken on those working group recommendations, probably we can keep on contributing to SGF and again take it back once the open interest goes down. No, that kind of thing can happen. At that kind of time, in that risk management scenario, we'll be able to reduce the margins to the initial margin levels, whatever the SEBI has prescribed as per the business rules. So that is what the way we look forward to. So the second thing that we are looking at it is the index futures contract and options contract are something which we would like to aggressively pursue it, and hopefully we will be successful there as well.
Understood, sir. Thank you and best of luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devesh Agarwal from IIFL Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Firstly, sir, we are seeing... hello?
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, Devesh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So firstly, the traction that we are seeing on the option side is largely in the crude oil contracts. Almost, I guess, 85 to 90% of the volumes are in crude oil. So is it you believe the margin requirements that we have on the future side that is kind of pushing volumes on the options, or this is a new market that is getting developed?
I would say it's a new market that is getting developed. The reason is, one reason is because of very high margins, people from the trading, some of the investors have withdrawn from trading in the crude contract, main futures contract. Now the brokers are hand-holding them to bring in via the options route. So that is how it is helping. The peak margins is another regulatory change which impacted. And I think in this options, I think just pay the premium. That's the end of it. That's the way it is.
Okay. And on the power derivative side, sir, now the power exchanges that we intend to start, any broad timeline that you can share?
I don't think I have ever said that power exchange we will start. It is a futures contract we wanted to launch on the price, which will be settled on the IEX prices. We have an exclusive agreement with IEX for about 2 years at least, and so we will be working on that. As soon as the regulatory approvals are received, we will start, launching on it. But meanwhile, the seed marketing is going on, and we are developing an ecosystem, creating awareness in the ecosystem.
Okay. And this would be purely financially settled contracts, right, sir? Or...
Should be. So, we don't know. You see, that's what our submission is, a cash settled contract. It is in the, to SEBI, but because there is a vibrant spot market is there, so it is for the regulator to decide how they would like to move forward in this.
Understood. And any updates, sir, on the gold spot exchange?
Yeah, the International Bullion Exchange, we have already started participating, in the sense that it is yet to be launched, but otherwise all the 3 exchanges and 2 depositories together have set up, and mock trading is going on. That's one part of it. It's yet to be inaugurated, and I'm sure that will also be a successful venture, subject to government granting certain concessions, I think which may happen, that is likely to happen. Okay, that's one part of it. And in the domestic side, just recently SEBI has announced sometime in September, the regulations are yet to be made, but then in the press release that we understand that there is either you can start as a segment within the exchange, or you can start a separate exchange. I think we are evaluating those options, and I think it is it's a constant stage, work in progress. That's all.
Okay. And in terms of technology, sir, for the spot exchange, do we have something ready, or are we still evaluating options?
No, as I said, when we are evaluating options, whether it should be a segment or a separate exchange, that is the component also, important component also, that the committee will be taking note of it.
Okay. And the contract that we had, sir, from the UK entity, the UK software developer, the case, any update on that? And have we written off any money on that account?
No, we have not written off any money as of now. We have already signed the settlement agreement, and I think pending that, under the settlement agreement, certain deliveries are expected. We get the software, and we will release whatever the payments that we have withheld. Okay, we have withheld certain invoices, no extra payment, but for whatever invoices that they raise, some of them we have withheld, and these two have to be settled. Then obviously it will be withdrawn from the Singapore International Arbitration Center. But currently it is under pause, and the agreement has been signed between 2 of us. The execution of the agreement is in progress.
Okay. And the last one, sir, from my side, the update on the TCS migration technology, and how much have we spent so far on that?
Yeah. I'll just give you an update on what we have spent. It's presently we have shown it under capital work in progress, intangibles under. So it's around 50 crores is what we have spent, mota.
Thank you. The current participant has left the question queue. The next question is from the line of Sanket Godha from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. So my question is again on the electricity derivative. Just wanted to understand, because IEX prices the spot based on the units, unlike most of the exchanges work in India based on the value rupees crores. So just wanted to understand whether whenever we launch the electricity derivative will be based on the units traded or it will be based on the rupees course or value traded basically? That's the first question. And within that electricity derivative, just wanted to understand globally, if you have done some study, what is spot to financial derivative market size? And finally, wanted to understand the revenue sharing model or MOU, what you have with IEX. Means whatever transaction income we have, are we required to share it with IEX or not?
Okay, I think first question I did not fully understand because we have a value is the turnover is there, and then the trading lot will be obviously in units, whether it is a megawatt hour unit or whatever that be, that is the contract specifications. And the charging mechanism on IEX is per megawatt hour, ours will be based on the ADT. Now, the transaction, the IEX, or rather, what is the international size? It is almost 7 to 8 times the spot markets in terms of ADT or turnover, if you look at it. So, if the spot exchange is 100, that will be 700. That's one. And the second, the other question is with related to the
revenue sharing with IEX.
Revenue sharing. Yes, there is a revenue sharing. It's about, if I'm not mistaken, 10% in the initial stages.
Okay, sir. And sir, on the second question was basically on the gold domestic gold spot exchange and not the GIFT City one. So just wanted to know the update there because the SEBI has come out with the final regulations. So just wanted to understand how are we placed in participating in the gold domestic spot exchange.
Just before you stepped in and somebody else was asking from IIFL, I have answered that. What I said is that the SEBI has said that either you can launch it as a separate segment within the exchange, as a separate exchange, and we have already done what is the segment means, what is the exchange means, and there are many commonalities in terms of hardware, software, other things. Separate exchange separate segment means it is the same thing as starting a separate exchange, and probably you don't need to have a big governance structure like an exchange. So segment also follows the same principles in terms of separate hardwares and people and separate membership for the segment, etc., etc. So we are evaluating it, both the options, and we will be taking before our committee, investment committee and others, and accordingly taking a call on it.
Oh, sir, my question is basically, we will be eligible to launch the gold spot exchange, or SEBI will decide who is potentially can launch a gold spot exchange in the country. Means are we the final company, or we are among the final companies, or is it is still that evaluation stage has to go through?
No, it is one among the exchanges. We are one among the exchanges. That's the way it is.
Oh, and we can, one among them, we can potentially launch it, right, sir? Or we will launch it, basically.
No. You see, there is no limit, there is no restriction. BSE can start, NSE can start, MCX can start, or BSE, okay. NSE, MCX can come together if it is a separate exchange also, or it's a segment, each one of us can start. I mean, which model we choose is it's left to us.
And most likely when it will be implemented, sir, as per the regulatory process?
No, regulations are not out as yet. Still, the vault regulations have to be made, and vaults have to be admitted, and the depositories have to, regulations have to be amended. SCCRA have to be amended because this gold receipts have to be declared as a security. As of now, it is not done as yet. So the intent is there, and then roadmap is getting created.
Okay, sir. And finally, one more thing on electricity derivative. Just you said that this product can be potentially launched by end of the fiscal year, right? That's the way I understand. Is my understanding right, sir?
That's right.
Okay. And finally, on energy index, we are charging like Metaldex and Bulldex, or we are still not charging?
Same tariff, no change.
Okay, perfect, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. The next question is from the line of Abhimanyu from GrowthX Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. I have 2 questions. Firstly, is there any guidance on what can be the turnover of electricity futures on the exchange? And secondly, you said that there is an exclusive agreement with IEX for at least 2 years. So, would this agreement would it be extended in the near future? And could you share some more specifics about this agreement as to what role each of you would be playing in this? And in case of any disputes happening in the futures contracts, who would have the authority to regulate these?
See, SEBI and CERC are the 2 regulators, where CERC is responsible for the spot and the forward contracts, and SEBI is responsible for futures contracts. And that has been decided by the Supreme Court by way of consent terms. So that's closed. The second, I will not be able to tell you, as I said, that what will be the turnover, etc. But some gentleman has asked internationally what is the kind of relationship or kind of volumes between spot and then futures. It is EEX is one example, European Electricity Exchange, and then there is a spot exchange there, and that is most vibrant. Those are, and it's almost 1:7 ratio. For every 100 crores turnover, there will be 700 crores is the. But that's a highly mature market in that sense. So this is the way it is. And in terms of agreement, yes, it's an agreement which we signed almost a year ago, and which we have notified to the markets also by way of with BSE notified. And it is the like we are settling the trades using the CME prices at the end of on the expiry of the contract, we will be using the prices of IEX for settling the trades on the exchange platform.
Okay.
I hope I have clarified. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lokesh Manik from Vallum Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, sir. My question was on electricity derivatives, and again, most of it has been answered by you. Just one small clarification. You mentioned that the revenue that you will earn is basically on the ADT. So will this be as a percentage of ADT, or will it be fixed price per lot, which would be in megawatt hours?
You see, we will not change only for this contract our revenue or the tariff model. Currently, we have for every 1 crore almost 200, 210 rupees, something of that kind we are earning.
Okay.
To be precise, yeah, that's the way it is. It should be that way only. Nothing else.
Okay. So our revenue model will not change.
Will not change. Right.
Okay. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Girish Shetty from Banyan Tree Advisors. Please go ahead.
Sir, I just wanted some clarification on the previous participant. You mentioned 10% will be the revenue sharing model. So 10% of what exactly is my question?
So 10% of whatever revenue that we earn out of this electricity futures contract. So let us say we earn, say, 10 crores. Okay. So 1 crore will be given. That's the way it is.
1 crore will go to IEX, you're saying?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lavanya Totala from UBS. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So I just want to understand that the cross margin thing which was started for index features, do you think that it has been helpful for index volumes, or why is it taking time for index volumes to pick up in your view? Any light there, sir?
If you see in the recent past, the index volumes did pick up. Okay, the only cross margin benefit is one of the what you call variables which help in picking up the volumes. But then volatility in metals, for example, has significantly helped us to ramp up these volumes also. So if you see, our metal dex is doing better than the bull dex, which traditionally bull dex supposed to be doing better because the bullions are always the darling of the market. But yet the metals are doing well. And the second important thing is the margins in these are lower than the actual underlying commodities. For example, the energy index just recently launched. Although 75% is crude oil and then 25% weightage is for natural gas, and the initial margin is 10%. But individually, if you see, their margins could be higher. So people will go for energy index contracts rather than the underlying assets. So there are many dynamics which decide from time to time depending on the business opportunities that traders see.
Got it. Thank you, sir. And the other one is, any update on bank subsidiary brokers? I think ICICI Access have already started. Any update there, sir?
Well, all that I can say is ICICI is really doing very well. Okay, and month to month we are able to see a very good traction in this, very good traction, and the others are still slow in joining. That's the way it is, and many of them are citing their IT development being slow in doing this.
Got it. Thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sri Karthik from Investec. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. In terms of the electricity derivatives, when you refer spot to futures ratio as 7x, would that be the entire day-ahead market, or should that only be on the real-time market? Because when you price your derivatives on the exchange, will it be based on the real-time market on IEX?
I see. It is all, both the day-ahead and as well as real-time together.
Not necessarily only the real-time market.
Yeah, no.
Sir, the other thing which I am actually struggling to understand is the options to futures ratio across our three key products, bullion, energy, metals, is like extremely divergent. Bullion is about 10%, energy is almost 50%, base metals is like 1 or 2%. Why such a huge divergence between these ratios, sir?
See, in fact, options contract did not pick up at all until recently, and I think only after the peak margin thing has kicked in, and with the high margins prevalent in crude oil contract, this options contract has found favor. Okay, so it is. I would say it is for that very reason, because the turnovers are 1,000 crores ADT or maximum 2,000 crores ADT. We did not even dare to start charging those contracts. Every time some of you are asking why are you not charging, although it is almost for 3 years, 4 years. But then we had reluctance to charge because the volume is too low. Maybe we are nipping them in the bud. That should not happen. Now that we have gradually acquired it, and I think every contract will get its own phase to grow, and I think that will correct it as we go along the market.
And you've indicated 100 rupees per 1 crore notional premium. Is that the revenue number for us?
No, it is what did I say is for every I think for 1 lakh 45 rupees is the this one, which means 4,500 rupees for 1 crore
of premium.
Premium for every 1 crore premium, 4,500 rupees is the charge. Yes, that's right. Average is 45 rupees we took.
Yeah, but you were equating that on the notional value, which is why I asked.
No. What we have said is, which generally translate, if I have a 9,000 crores options turnover, okay, I get that is equivalent to 3,000 crores of futures turnover, which gets me per crore 200 rupees.
Okay, 1/3. 1/3 is the translation.
Yeah, 1/3 is the translation.
And like you indicated, this 7 times derivatives on electricity. Any indication globally on options to futures on commodity side?
In fact, many places options have not done great, but ours being a retail market, that's where we are looking at a greater thrust on this product.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Yadav from Transcend Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, firstly, if you could elaborate the reasons for us, this futures turnover has taken, especially in the bullion segment, has taken almost a 60% hit year on year. So if you could elaborate the reasons for us. One of them you've discussed about is the peak margin requirements, but if you can share your thoughts. Hello.
Yeah, I'm seeing this, but I'm not able to see that there is a 60%.
So the data you shared on the presentation on the slide 6, the bullion turnover last year same quarter was around 24,000, and this year it is around 9,400 crores.
Quarter on quarter.
Yes, sir. For the same quarter, year on year.
Okay. Yeah, well, let me see. I've seen that. Okay. See, if you last year, if you have seen our ADT in this bullion, ADT was around almost 38,000 for 40,000 crores, notwithstanding the complete lockdown in the market, because the physical markets were also by and large closed, and the only opportunity that the people were essentially to use the exchange as a platform. That is one part of it. Another thing is there is a huge volatility internationally in these bullion products at that point in time. So primarily the commodities have a high volatility. Obviously, that will translate into into trading on the exchange platform. And third, which is again more important, at that time probably this gold, the bullion was considered as a safe investment investment avenue. So obviously because of the rise in COVID, etc., people were looking at this as one of the products where they could park their investments. So price rise is because of the COVID and the lockdowns, etc., and not lack of having better economic growth. And the other one is,
sir, if I understand correctly, so you shared that volatility is a big part and agreed that last year we had a lot of volatility in the bullion metals, especially after the breakout of COVID. But this is the quantum of fluctuation we can usually see with volatility, that the volumes swinging in the range of 40 to 60%.
Yes. We have seen in the case of bullion as compared to last year, we have seen this. We have seen this kind of volatility. Otherwise, if you see the number of participants trading, in fact it has increased. If you see the number of players, it has increased. 1 minute, I'll tell you. In the case of bullion, in the April to September Q2, was July, September. Where is July, September? It's a growth, no? 231,000 is the 231,970 people have participated in the April to September this year.
Okay. And sir, what do you feel would be the normalized volumes on the bullion segment, in the sense that once the effect of these peak margin requirements and everything wanes out, and what do you feel is the normalized volume we should see in the bullion segment? Because we've not had those kind of difficulties like we had with the crude of suddenly escalating margins. So what is the normalized volumes you see at the current customer base? You've discussed that the base is also increasing.
We see around 15,000 to 20,000.
This should revert in the coming times, you say.
It should.
Okay. And secondly, sir, second of my question is a bit of an extension on the electricity derivatives part. So tech-wise, are we ready? Are we ready for that? Because it'll be an onboarding of entirely new set of customers with the discoms and generators coming in. So it'll be an entirely new set of customers. So are we ready with the tech for that?
No, there's no separate tech. On the same platform, you launch those ones. Okay. The same electricity, the futures contract remain the same. All the specifications and the trading platform remain the same, and the brokers remain the same. Obviously in the ecosystem we are doing, as I said, transplanting this idea of hedging, etc. And we are able to get a good response at this point in time. Very good response, I would say.
Okay. But that onboarding process has to begin. Once the regulatory approvals come in, this onboarding process has to begin for the discoms and everyone.
We have already started. We have started.
Okay. Lovely. You've already started the onboarding process for
yes
customers. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thanks for the opportunity once again. Sir, two questions. First is, sir, on the IEX, on the derivative contracts, you said that to begin with, you'll have 10% revenue share. Is the revenue share likely to decline over time? And secondly, in the PPT you have mentioned about spot trading platforms for coal. Is there something happening there right now? Is it something we can expect over next 12 months?
Yeah. You see, taking the second question first, on the coal with M Junction, as I said, we are working on it, and vendor has to give a presentation to joint presentation he has to make, and the report has to be submitted. And once that is done, I think we will take it forward. That's the way it is. On the coming back to the revenue sharing with IEX, I said first 2 years is 10%, and then we will see how it moves.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanket Godha from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me opportunity again. So just one more extension on TCS contract. So you said that you have spent almost 50 crores till date. So by effectively how much we are likely to spend on TCS when it gets fully implemented, so that we can determine what will be the amortization cost over 5 or 6 years, whatever we will do it.
You see, we have not disclosed the cost as yet. The contractual obligations are there. It's not just TCS. What he mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, on the commodity derivatives platform. So partly the cost to the software vendor, partly the hardware that we have to acquire it. So on the CDP project, you get a complete what to call visibility, not the breakup. Maybe at the end of, sometime by September next year, you will get the visibility in the results in the accounts.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Chandra from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So the algo volumes, the percentage has been coming upwards. So is it spread across the contract, or is it specific to some contracts? And also in the drop in the bullion volume that we have seen. So was there a concentration in terms of one member contributing to the volumes that has come off, or whether the drop has been broad based? Because as you are saying that the retail clients or the UCC numbers still continues to be very strong, and the additions there are very strong, but still we are seeing drop in volume. So this might have to do with a larger member going out of the system. So can you explain that?
Yeah. In fact, the larger members have not gone out of it. Whosoever members are trading, maybe they are trading less given the margin collateral that they have kept, or the clients kept the collateral. So yes, algo players are increasing, and it will go on increasing it, because recently maybe about 2 months ago, we have introduced one algo player, or 20 IDs can be attached to one algo strategy, something of that kind. This one is not there with me before me. So as a result of which, others have also started coming in, some of the international players. I don't want to take their names. Now, one more has become a direct member of the exchange, and 2 more are expected to become members shortly. Now, so more and more algo players will come. Now, where are they active? Yes, they are active in options. They are active in almost all on futures contract, except maybe agri. Agri also, maybe they are not in, maybe they are there in the CPO, but I think CPO is the one. But otherwise, they are there almost on all the contracts. Options, definitely in options, crude oil options, definitely there, and the gold. These are the 2.
Okay, and in any of the contracts, do you see any specific concentration of the top 10 members, or is it like equally spread?
No. We don't see concentration.
Okay.
We don't see.
Okay. And sir, on the technology upgradation that we are doing, so is the things as per plan? So what timelines we have set earlier, and what are the challenges we are facing in terms of the upgradation? So everything is on track, or there is some delays on that front? And also, if you can throw some light on the cost savings, what were planned earlier and what exactly you're going to achieve.
I think the program is on track. I think by the end of December we should be able to see the system to be in the UAT, under UAT, user acceptance test, and thereafter we'll be doing the parallel runs, etc. And then we will onboard also member brokers to start testing the system, all that kind of things. So yes, it is a very, very tight program, but at the same time we are able to manage and monitor effectively. The cost savings, Yes, maybe in the initial year, you will be, sometimes you need to write off the existing servers and hardware and other things because you are getting a new hardware, and both may be there for some time. And the next 5 years, we will be writing off the new software also, whatever the expenditure we are incurring. And thereafter, the AMC is a single digit, That is something which I have said earlier also, and it will be very, very marginal. That is the way it is.
Okay. And sir, is there any kind of correlation between the volume pickup and the completion of the shift? Because is there any like correlation to that?
There may be a correlation, but there is no cause and effect relationship. That's all I can say. Okay, if it goes up, then it goes up. Then there is no relationship between the two. There is no cause and effect.
And why I'm asking that, is there any hesitance from the larger member that when the technology upgradation is done and it's up and running, then maybe?
No, there's nothing of that kind. As I told you, some of the algo players have already started joining. That's what I'm saying. New players have started.
Okay. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Arjun from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Opportunity. Sir, it's a broad question with respect to my observations with the electricity prices and how the spot market is behaving. We see that spot market delivery, majorly it happens in a day-ahead market, and there is no contracts or delivery that is for more than 7 days or 10 days. So the maximum is for a 10-day period. So basically there is no depth in the market. And number two, the electricity prices are highly volatile. 5x to 10x of what crude prices, that's what the volatility of electricity prices are. And the intraday volatility or price volatility is very high. So this electricity futures market is both provides a venue for hedgers also to participate, to provide a long-term contract, and also for the retail participants to benefit from the volatility. What is your view? Who would come into this electricity futures market? It is the government organizations or distribution companies that would stay for a one month future contracts, or will it be more of retailers who would want to benefit from this price volatility? Whom do you think would be contributing or participating in this contracts?
See, you need all the players. You need speculators who are intraday also. You need hedgers, both the producers as well as consumers. And you need financial participants who will do arbitrage opportunities between the contracts. And as you rightly pointed out, electricity IEX or wherever it is traded, you not only have on different times of the day the volatility, because the peak is different and off peak is different pricing, and that's why they have divided into every 15-minute block for trading. So yes, you're right. There will be so much of volatility in this contract. But our focus is substantially for the peak period, and weekly average and monthly average prices is what we need to track it. And discoms and other generators, and there are many industries are there which are buying it. And there are some industries where they have a captive power plants, but they are also supplying it when they have an non-peak load. So they are also supplying it. So we are targeting everybody. I would say that's way. We are targeting everybody who needs electricity as one of the key inputs for their business. That is the way it is.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thanks for the opportunity once again, sir. One question, sir. Why do you sir, on the steel side, Why don't we have the hot rolled coil futures as a product? I believe the hot roll HRC will be a much larger product compared to the hot roll compared to the TMT bars.
Yeah, you see, we have done some analysis, market survey of it. Survey, I would call it a study. We can say that, and there are two things. Billets is one, and it is hard to find for delivery because most of the manufacturers consume their own billets. Hardly any market in the sense who are willing to sell it. The other one is this TLT bars. And so we are looking at the value chain. We are starting here because the number of players will be too many in this steel TMT contract. So is the consumers. A lot of construction. I mean, when I say construction, not the individuals who construct a house. We are looking at huge L&T Infra or any of those kind of giants who are in the business of infrastructure construction, or huge housing construction companies, big companies. They all can look at this. At the same time, we are also not catering only to the integrated steel plants. There are many others who are smaller, but who have automated their processes. Okay, with whatever is the technology that is needed for ensuring the quality is guaranteed. So we are looking at empanelment of those kind of investors, those kind of producers also to deliver on the exchange platform. And we have already filed for one more contract, the aluminium alloy contract, which I think in the previous meeting or call I have mentioned it. We are waiting for that approval also. So we expect these contracts to be launched in this current financial year.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We will continue to launch other in the value chain products, other value chain products. Not that we will stop with only steel TMT. Yes.
Thank you.
And
as there are ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. P.S. Reddy for closing comments.
I think one more gentleman has come. Mr. Ayaz Motiwala is there.
Yes.
You can allow him. That may be the last question. It's fine.
Sure. The next question is from the line of Ayaz Motiwala from Nivalis Partners. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, sir. I had actually pressed the number, but I registered later maybe. Thank you for that once again. So I have two quick questions. One is the question on TMT bars and steel related. So in terms of the exchange, what does the exchange facilitate the participants in terms of physical delivery, ensuring quality, etc.? How does that mechanics work, sir? For a product which can have varying quality and other sort of physical features because of being sort of metal oriented. So if you could share some thought on that, on how this would play out, sir.
Yeah, you see, we have worked out, we have a product advisory committee. They have given guidelines what should be the to the kind of standard bar that we need to be looking at, and what are the other bars. I think 12 mm rod is what is considered as a standard bar. And then we have looked at, I think, Noida. Delhi is the place for delivery center, base delivery center. And then we are looking at a lot of integrated steel plants which are there, about 7-8 of them are there. They are very keen to do this. And a lot of players in the infrastructure construction, they are very keen to participate. And it's primarily to hedge their risk. Okay, it's primarily to hedge their risk. And I think it will work well. And we assure quality. Quality is guaranteed. Today also 5 base metal contracts are doing well. We assure quality that is being delivered. But at the same time, we empanel the producers who can deliver on our exchange platform. So we only accept those metals. So obviously, we have a technical audit done by something like LX2Volt or SK Mitra, etc. That kind of people go do the process audit and then confirm to us. Thereafter, the testers are empaneled and they use the metal and then say that yes, it is of quality. Then only we will do the empanelment. So I think it's an elaborate process. Fly-by-night operators can't come onto the exchange platform and deliver it and wash off their hands. No. So
Sure.
we are doing pretty a decent job out there. Thank you.
Sure. That's very assuring, sir. Just a sort of side question on that would be that there are online discovery portals which also deal on a B2B basis, especially with the steel side of the business. So, as you said, the core purpose of participants here would be to hedge their risk or keep their spreads intact, in the sense if they bought expensive raw material and the steel cycle is running away. That's the purpose. Okay, great, sir. Just a last question from my side, sir, is we've talked a lot about this electricity futures, as you said, regulated, one by CERC and the other by SEBI, and the case is settled. As we note, sir, that IEX also has a product called the real-time market, or RTM as they call it, and you are potentially going to launch a future product very soon. So from a point of view of participants, as you said, sir, that we need both suppliers and buyers, as well as the necessary sort of participants such as financial investors and speculators. How would they differentiate between this? Me asking this from a layman perspective on RTM versus the futures market, sir.
Yeah, you see, the way that I look at this, as I said again, it's only for a hedging purposes. And if somebody wants it, they have to go to the physical market like IEX platform. And then there is also a national, grid center, national grid center, which tells you how much free capacity is available to wheel the power to the location where you want it. So we are not getting into that area anyway. Okay, this is primarily to help somebody's requirement is X megawatt hours over 1 month. So they look at it and accordingly hedge it. So in the beginning of the month, they may hedge for 100 megawatt hours, and gradually they keep on reducing it. Then and whenever they immediately go and buy it on the for the day on the IEX platform, but they should get the complete cover, financial cover. So whatever that they have incurred expenditure on IEX, they will be able to cover it. That's the way it is.
Sure. Great.
I think National Load Dispatch Center, that's called.
Yes, yes, sir.
NLDC. Okay.
Yeah. Great, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate your clarifications, and I wish you all the very best to you and your team.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. P.S. Reddy for closing comments.
Yeah. Thanks to all of you for reposing faith in the management and the board and the company. And we will do our best. We will not miss any opportunity to ensure that the shareholders and the stakeholders' value is always enhanced. And yes, sometimes the market conditions are not conducive enough. I'm sure everybody understands that. Business is not risk-free, but we will take all steps to mitigate risk and promote business. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.